last Sunday, last Saturday in Vietnam time, where he returned to his homeland after many years abroad as a refugee from the communists and etc. takeover. Thich Nhat Hanh was a great master, and it would be worth looking up him, listening to him, seeing the movies about him, reading his books. Like There Is No Way to Peace, Peace is the Way. Like Miracle of Mindfulness, one of the books that introduced mindfulness into the mainstream culture 40 years ago, and other books too numerous to mention. The Way of the White Clouds, The Life of Buddha by Thich Nhat Hanh. Maybe it's not called that, but Life of Buddha by Thich Nhat Hanh. It's some kind of good way. Yes. Thich Nhat Hanh is so wonderful. And I happen to be lucky to know him, to meet him. He wrote an introduction to My Awakening to Buddha Within in 1995. I had tea with him once in France, and he was the slowest moving, let's say, most mindful person one has ever met. But we don't have to go into that. I told the story yesterday about his peace march with 100,000 people or more down Fifth Avenue in New York, where he slowed everybody down. And it took 5 hours for the huge parade, crowd, peace demonstration to walk from the 50 blocks, which should usually take about, let's say, 2 hours, an hour, to walk in mindful, walking slow motion down Fifth Avenue, walking the talk, as they say, showing the way, slowing people down. In fact, we should do that too and begin with a little of that today. And we honor and love Thich Nhat Hanh and all the Sangha members and so many of the great masters of the previous generations of Asia and just the whole world have been passing into the twilight of this fleeting life, too numerous to mention, but we venerate them. We're grateful for them. They used to say in science, the humble scientists would say, I think it was Sir Isaac Newton, who said, we stand on the shoulders of giants, referring back to Bacon and Aristotle and some of the others that came before him. And I really feel like we sit in the laps of the giants, and they hold us our hands till we learn to uphold this living Dharma, this beautiful, nonviolent, wise and loving way of life and authenticity, etc. They hold our hands till we learn to uphold it and pay it forward to others, to the next generations, or to whoever, even to the invisible beings. I'm smiling, thinking of some Tibetan teaching tales about lamas reciting the entire How to Be a Bodhisattva book to an empty village, those haunted by ghosts. But I'm not going to tell that story. You can read it in the Snow Lion's Turquoise Mane, 150 Wisdom Tales from Tibet. Today's subject, and I was asked to talk about this, is how to cope with stress and anxiety during these uncertain days. We don't even need to mention during the pandemic or anything else, during these uncertain, restless, cacophonous days. And it is stressful. It is uncertain. It is surprising, unexpected. There is plenty of anxiety, concerns, and even valid worries, not to mention extra worries, abroad in the world today, here and elsewhere. So I'll mention a few ways that I do it, a few things I heard from other people. And I'd like to begin with some practice and experience regarding that so we get in the mood, following in the footsteps of the great, venerable, loving peace master, Thai, as we called him, the teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, Thai of Vietnam. And his
think we just lost Lama for a moment there. It's what we do when we're on retreat, and Lama sometimes is a few minutes. We wait for him for a few minutes, is we just sit, just hold the space for him to enter. Just connect with your breath.
I'm sorry, did I lose you?
Just for a moment, you're back.
Powers that be must have heard me say died and Ty and following his footsteps, and they didn't get about following his footsteps in mindfully walking together, as he said, tall, erect, shoulder to shoulder, or whoever, hand in hand, arm in arm, together down the great central path, the middle way, or Fifth Avenue in New York, if you like. Slowing down, arriving here and now, gathering your thoughts, collecting your scattered energy and mental energy and thoughts, and etc. One of the meanings of mindfulness, the original word smriti in Sanskrit, sati in Pali language, is recollectedness, remindfulness, gathering our scattered thoughts and energy and focusing it here and now, paying attention, it pays off. So coming home to ourselves here and now, just sitting, just breathing, just being present, relaxing. These are some of the ways that I cope every day in my daily meditation, or just in moments of Zen, moments of mindfulness throughout the day. Breathe, relax, and smile. If you don't want to smile, if you're a Grinch, if you're not feeling well, you don't have to fake it. Just breathe, relax. Maybe grin a little bit. I'm sorry, can't resist it. The joy of spirit. And what a beautiful day here to awaken together on this day, winter. Breathe, relax, center, focus, smile. Let the tension drain out. Let it drain into your seat, through your bottom. Relax. Apparently breathing helps stimulate the vagus nerve, helps make the happy hormones flow, like serotonin, dopamine, to read modern neuroscientists' research on meditation and brain science. It calms the stress hormone, cortisol, stimulates and relaxes us through the vagus nerve, one of our main chakras, plexus, etc. Breathing, relaxing, smiling. How long does it take? Even in the middle of a busy day, even at work, even at the courtroom, even on the corner waiting for the light, even arguing with your mate, or the kids in your classroom, whatever. Breathe, relax, center, focus, smile. The 12-day programs, 12-step programs, Alcoholics Anonymous, etc., and others tell us to live one day at a time. We Buddhists are taught into Buddhist meditation and breath awareness to live one moment at a time, one breath at a time. This is my second point of, let's say, 10 tips to how to alleviate stress and tension in these uncertain days. First, breathe, relax, and smile. Take a break, take a breather, have a moment of Zen, a moment of mindfulness. Many quickies throughout the day rather than waiting for a few prolongies on the weekend can help puncture the solidity of a claustrophobic day, can help let the air of awareness flow more freely through the rigid conceptual barbed wire and fixed thought patterns. This breath, only breath, one moment at a time. natural body, natural breath and energy, natural mind. This is all built in to natural meditation, Dzogchen non-meditation, just being with a capital B plus, presencing, present awareness, awareness with a capital A plus, awareness, aware of awareness, mind to mind, aware of awareness, whatever arises in the body mind continuum in the present moment, simply aware of it and letting it go, letting come and go, letting be. Letting go means letting come and go, letting be, not suppressing and not being carried away, indulgent trains of thought, chains of thought that entangle us. This breath, only moment, breath, this moment, only moment. Nowness, awareness, the unfabricated, natural, luminous, good everything. Relaxing with patience and self-compassion. That's the third point. Applicable in life, applicable in meditation, not judging, not striving, not hurrying, not competing. What? Me worry? As Alfred E. Newman used to say. What? What? Me worry? Oh, wondrous, amazing. The garden, like childlike innocence of naked being, naked awareness, if you must. Awareness, pure presence. Allowing. Remembering life is like a dream, a fantasy, a mirage, a sitcom, as it says in the Diamond Sutra, sort of. Seeing through momentary phantasmagoria, all projections, interpretations, all the non-tokes, all concepts. The intellect is a good servant, but a poor master. We're too much under its thrall. Remember the mantra, life is like, this world is like a dream, a fantasy, a sitcom, a mirage. Mere echoes, bubbles on a passing stream. Letting go of the tight fist of grasping, the ego sphincter. Rest and relax, the natural state, at ease, at one, at home, aligned, erect. Rick was always erect, not floppy, at any posture. Contentment is true wealth, as Nagarjuna said. Undo the habit of overdoing. There's transformative magic in things left just as they are, open to the wisdom of allowing. Remembering these too shall pass. Everything can be meditated, co-meditated, integrated. Beyond outer and inner, self and other, sacred or profane. Chant to open, relax, focus, intensify. The Dzogchen mantra. Easy to use, easy to memorize, user friendly. Dzogchen seed syllable, Dzogchen mantra. This is Tibetan. It's in so many places. Mouth open, eyes open, everything open. What a relief. You can do this any time of the day. Relax, deep relax. Learn to breathe and relax and exhale and empty oneself. Walk the talk. Practice what you each. Authentically you, not imitating. For you students of Dzogchen, the 5 Ahs mandala of Longchenpa, of Dzogchen, of the 7 treasures. One in each skanda, each limb, each sense, each element, earth, water, fire, air, space. Open. Can't inhale, can't think while eyeing. Will be the Wizard of Oz. May the force be with you, the great Tao. How sweet is Imho. Amen. Eyeing out. Wizard of Oz. The magician, don't get deceived by your magical projections, interpretations, conceptual imputations. Be the magician, don't get taken in like Pygmalion. But you are magical projections, interpretations. Don't chase the thoughts and the feelings and the ideas like a dog chasing the bones that are thrown. As the fearless master Jigmelinka sings, jump on the thrower. Don't be like a dog chasing the bones that are thrown. Be more like a lion, jump on the thrower. Trust the source of the radiance, mental fabrications, jump on the thrower. Turn the mind upon itself, look at the looker, see through the seer, perceive the perceiver, and be free. Rest in luminous, senseless openness, the natural state. There's nirvanic peace and things left just they are, as the Buddha said. So leave it as it is and rest the weary heart and mind. Seeing is freeing, awareness is curative. Openness and awareness, inseparable. Just sitting, just breathing, just being present. The 3 jewels, 3 meditators' jewels, the 3 jewels of true refuge, sanctuary, haven of natural meditation, undoing the habit of overdoing, non-meditation, unmeditation, resting in the view, true presence, true life, the Buddha mind, whatever you call it. Om at last. Meditating, intermeditating, interbeing with all and everything. Seeing through the illusion of separateness. Many quickies rather than a few prolongies. It's a good practice for daily life, for integrating into your busy work week or whatever. Moments of Zen, moments of mindfulness, moments of Dzogchen. Anytime. To cut through, to see through, to just be through and through. Truly. Truthfully. American Buddhas, awaken. Throw off your chains, your concepts, your interpretations. Open those big blue eyes. Blue as an orange, as the poet sang. Revitalize, revivify the corpse of nowness awareness. Start again, fresh, naked, innocent. First thought, best thought, only thought. Just think, just thinking, just breathing, just aware. This breath, only breath. This thought, feeling, perception, only thought or sensation. Oh, like ripples on the surface of the stream going by. Like waves in the sea, yet the sea never leaves its great, expansive, all-inclusive bed. Ripples are just superficial reflections, as if in the mirror. Big mind, God's mind, if you like. Truthiness, the dharmata, the natural state of being as it is. I take refuge in the Buddha, innate wakefulness, Buddha mind. Take refuge, find sanctuary, the stormy waters of samsara in the port of the Dharma, truthiness, truthfulness, reality as it is. I take refuge in the Sangha of togetherness, of co-meditation into meditation into being. Just sitting, natural body is Buddha body, the Manakaya, perfect embodiment, just sitting at home, authentic, relaxed. Second, just breathing. Natural breath and energy is Buddha's breath and energy, Sambhogakaya. Pure joy, pure flow, the great Tao, the zone, just dig it. Natural breathing. And third, just being with a capital B plus, aware with a capital A plus, present and accountable. Natural presence, present mind is Buddha mind, as they said, Buddha heart mind. Leave it as it is, the Dharmakaya, our true nature, fine with nature, nature. The meditator's refuge, the Mahamudra refuge, Shunyata, the shining void, lucid awareness, and formless being, the three jewels, the Mahamudra refuge, three jewels, for the meditator. Dig it, rock it. Imaho, enjoy the joy of natural meditation of just being. Now this awareness to unfabricated Buddha within. This breath only breath, this moment only moment. Imaho. Peace, shanti, joy, harmony, openness, presence. So simple, so liberating, so free. Imaho. Joy, the joy, natural meditation, section, meditation, non-meditation, pure presence, just being. Sit on your Buddha seat. Sample. Imaho. Let's chant the four dharmas again, Popa, there on page 5, Kelly. The four dharmas, the Longchenpa, the four dharmas. Tukwarjan Rinpoche always used this as a basis for his entire teachings of the four yanas, Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana, and non-dual Mahamudra and Dzogchen. Bless and empower us that our minds and hearts turn toward the liberating Dharma. Bless and empower us that our Dharma practice becomes the path of liberation. Bless and empower us that the path, our life journey, truly dispels confusion and illusion. Bless and empower us that confusion is self-adorns as primordial gnosis, pristine awareness. May all beings everywhere with whom we are inseparably interconnected be awakened, liberated, healed, and free. May we all together complete the spiritual journey. I bow to the Buddha, the divine, the goddess, the light, whatever, however you conceive it, the goodness of your highest best self. I bow to the Buddha in your seat. Don't overlook them.
Any questions you can put directly in the chat to me.
Thank you, Kel.
You're welcome. We have a few already.
So in the beginning, especially the meditation, I mentioned a few points, tips and pointers that you can carry on in your meditation, but also in life for alleviating the stress and anxiety of these uncertain times, like seeing it like a dream, like a fantasy, like a mirage, like a sitcom. Remembering the mantra, life is like a dream. Remembering the American mantra, this too shall pass. It helps us let go and release our tight grip, not throw things away, but release our tight grip so we get less rope burn of the things passing through our fingers, in any case, all impermanent things. Resting and relaxing in the natural state, taking a breath, taking a break. This is one of the most important ones. Undoing the habit of overdoing. Remember to be the magician. Don't get caught up in your imaginations, projections, and interpretations, conceptual imputations over the groundless, boundless nature of reality, so mysterious and almost unknowable. Don't be like the artist in Shaw's Pygmalion who fell in love with the female statue he created. Be like the magician. There was a wonderful, one of my favorite Dzogchen Pith instructions by Longchenpa's heart disciple, the fearless master, the yogi, the 18th century cave yogi, Jigme Lingpa, who says, don't be like a dog following every bone that's thrown. Be like a lion, leap directly on the thrower. I know that's not the most nonviolent of images, but there it is. Let's call it a tantric fifth instruction. We're always so outwardly, externally oriented. We could use a little more balance by introspection, by turning the spotlight, the searchlight inward, as Mahatma Gandhi said, by taking the backward step, as the mystics call it, and witnessing, observing, Think, reflect before you react. Perhaps you can respond more intentionally, more principledly, more constructively. Have self-compassion, self-acceptance, and patience. So important in meditation, not comparing, not competing, not worrying, not being too ambitious, not giving into elation, or I'm going to use the word downness instead of depression, as they say, because it's not technically psychology's pathological depression. Don't give into elation or downness, discouragement. How about that? Just keep going. 10,000 years straight ahead, as the Korean Zen master Sung San always used to say in his broken English. This is a quote from Sung San Sanim. Just don't know. Straight ahead, 10,000 years. I love it, especially living here in the thinking capital of the Western world, Cambridge 2.0, Massachusetts, where every window you look in, you see bookshelves even now. So those are a few tips and pointers in the meditation we did. You could use those, I hope, and we'll go on to a few more. Everybody knows or hears, or if you look it up, you can easily find it. The 4 or 5 things that are always recommended for dealing with stress and coping with anxiety in this pandemic, like pay attention to healthy habits like healthy eating and drinking, not news binging, healthy sleep, exercise, connecting with loved ones, having fun, doing what you like sometimes. That's pretty basic and yet challenging. How really well are we doing with self-care? I ask you. It's a rhetorical question. I ask myself. Let's keep an eye on that. Acceptance has such a transformative magic. Contentment is the ultimate form of wealth. And how can we accept others if we don't accept ourselves? How can we be not just happy, as the happiness movement talks about so much, but even deeper, satisfied, fulfilled, content, at peace, inner peace and harmony, which exudes peace and harmony, which can help spread it without proselytizing. Others might catch it too. We can practice forgiveness also. Gratitude. These are great de-stressors because it defocuses ourselves on our own problems and issues. We create so much tension and stress ourselves, living in our head, thinking too much. Practice forgiveness, including self-forgiveness. Practice acceptance, gratitude. We've been given so much. Look around this gathering, folks. We're in the first world here, not the third world. Most of us are part of the upper middle path. Dare I generalize or stereotype? White, overeducated, upper middle path. I'm not going to talk about class. We don't have class in America, as people like to say, even though we do. We're the fortunate ones. Let's be grateful. It's a good practice. It'll help strengthen your inner fortitude. I guarantee it. And less, take things for granted less. And as the Dragon Lama, His Holiness the Gyalwang Drukpa always says, you must, everything must be meditated. In other words, awareness is the active ingredient not crossing our legs, closing our eyes, crossing our fingers in our lap, and hoping to get enlightened. Every posture is a posture for cultivating awareness, as Buddha said. In every moment is it. Everything must be meditated. That doesn't mean you have to cross your legs and sit on your desk at work if you have a desk, if you go to work, or make a big scene of it sitting cross-legged in public. Just awareness, paying attention. Learning how to receive and to listen and to recognize what's going on and the dreamlike nature of things, and to reflect and reconsider before we react blindly, knee-jerk reflex reactions, so we can more intelligently, principledly, perhaps creatively, constructively respond and not just blindly react. And reframing how we hold things, the narrative, the way we tell it, the way we connect the dots. You know, even the constellations in the sky, you look up, you see the same stars, but there are different ways of drawing the same stars into different patterns, different constellations. Isn't that interesting? We forget that. Everything is so subjective. We can reframe, which reconditions us and eventually deconditions us, helps us get out of our ruts and our habitual ways of thinking. And then we can consciously respond. So I call this the 7 R's, or 7 steps to mindful emotional management, mindful anger management, if you like. Receive and listen, tune in, attend, receive. Second, recognize what's going on. Take a breath. Have a moment of mindfulness between stimulus and response, so you can choose how, when, and if to respond, not just blindly react. Recognize. Third, reflect and reconsider. Feel it in your body, perhaps. The anger, the unrest, the fear, the anxiety. You don't just have to shout back or hit back. As my granny used to say when I was 5 or 6, Jeffrey, count to 10 before you hit back. I said, Granny, that's a hell of a long time. She said, well, maybe count to 3. That was my first lesson in mindfulness. Take a moment to think before you act. Reframe, recondition, and then respond. How, when, and if. Respond. Maybe you make it into art like Picasso did with Guernica, where the Nazis bombed the crap out of that Spanish town called Guernica. Rather than Picasso, who was so outraged and freaked out, going out with a blunderbuss and shooting a few, whatever they were, let's call them Germans, Nazis, and getting killed himself. Instead, he made a peace statement about the horrors of war that hangs in a museum that the whole world knows, Guernica. That's reactive responding. That's responding constructively, creatively, rather than blindly reacting and running out, killing and be killed. So there are a lot of other ways we could talk about. For example, I read that somebody says the 4 A's of stress and anxiety relief are to alter the situation or your intention, what you're doing, or to adapt to it. You can try to alter it, or you can try to alter your own position or way of thinking, or you can accept it. Last week I had lunch with one of my best unbelievably old 50-year long friends, Joseph Goldstein, since our days in India together on the Buddhist path, who, by the way, just entered a 3-month solitary retreat. That's what he does almost every spring if he can. Joseph said he's working on trying to do what he can with what he can change and let go of what he can't change, and also try to discern the difference, as it's said in the Serenity Prayer from Reinhold Niebuhr, the Protestant theologian, that the 12-step programs use. May I have the courage to change the things I can, the patient forbearance, the acceptance to accept the things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference. So we can either alter, adapt, accept, or avoid. These are 4A's, easy to remember. Strategies to deal with difficulties. And you can read these things, you could Google them, you can study them, but you have practicing and applying them is the main thing. Like breathing and relaxing can help recondition us, decondition us, helps the happy hormones flow and the stress hormones recede and so on. Breathing exercises. If you Google progressive muscle relaxation, you'll find some very good stuff there, easy to apply. Or do a YouTube search on progressive muscle relaxation. I'm not joking. John Kabat-Zinn, founder of mindfulness-based stress reduction 40 years ago, 35 years ago, MBSR, so influential in mainstreaming mindfulness, especially in the health fields all over North America and the world now. He does a fine job of guiding and talking about relaxation, awareness, mindfulness, and healing. Ron Kabat-Zinn with 2 N's, look it up. So there's other points and tips. I could say I made some notes here. Maybe I should do a day-long retreat or workshop on this sometime in the spring if the Dzogchen Center can organize it or something like that. Needless to say, connecting with loved ones, living one day at a time. Be aware of the overly self-referential, narcissistic American mantra, ego mantra, let's say, rather than blaming any nation of people. The ego mantra, what about me? Whatever happens, what about me? How's that going to affect us? And defocusing on ourselves, like in Tonglen, wishing well for others and taking the difficulty on ourselves. In fact, Jesus taught that, didn't he? We're not going to go into that. That's a great practice for these difficult times. As it says in the attitude transformation teachings, the Tonglen is part of Tonglen, equalizing self and other, giving and receiving, sending and taking, Tonglen in Tibetan, putting yourselves in the other's shoes, exchanging oneself and others, so many translations of Tonglen. Breathing out all the light and the goodness and the positives and our strengths and virtues, and breathing in the difficulties and the darkness and so on, and letting it dissolve into the empty, open, luminous, groundless and boundless true nature of our best selves, our Buddha nature. Not making ourselves sick from vacuuming up all the schmutz and caca. Thus, as the Dalai Lama always says, quoting the gentle angel, the peace master, Shanti Deva, and his great classic from 1,000 years ago, How to Be a Bodhisattva, Entering the Way of the Bodhisattva by Shanti Deva, look into it. Dalai Lama always says, quoting from that, the enemy or the difficulty or the critic or the disease, the unwanted, I would say, can be our greatest teacher. This Tonglen, this leaning into it, as a business book calls it, lean into it rather than contract away from it. The difficulty can be our greatest teacher. I call it the Pearl Principle. I have a whole book on this, letting go of the person you used to be. Spiritual transformation through loss, grief, and change. So these are just a few thoughts. Don't get overwhelmed. If you pick up any one of them, it will help. Breathing and relaxing, living one moment or one day at a time, not getting lost in fantasies and plans about what we're going to do when this is over. Maybe there's no discrete over. We're going to have to live with some variation of this. So thank you. Practice is perfect. We just do it. Any questions, please? I know I took up most of the time, but this is a big subject. People are asking every day.
Thank you, Lama. I think that was really helpful for everyone. I'll ask, there's a few questions, a few of which will require much more than 3 minutes. So I'll just ask one of the simpler questions.
Why don't you read them out so we all have some ideas and can think about them?
Sure.
And then I'll try to answer one or something.
Okay. So Let me read them out and then you choose. So the first one is, can you talk a bit about Atisha and his 7 points of mind training?
No, go on. Second
Yeah.
one, not next 2 minutes.
Glad we agree.
Love Young, Tonglen. That's Atisha's teaching in a nutshell.
Yeah. Another question is, can you share with us the Tibetan definition of oneness?
No. Shunyata. Go on. We only have 1 minute. Can't
There you
talk
go.
about
Here's the one I think you can
Void.
answer, perhaps. Is there any mystical significance to the time and date of Thich Nhat Hanh's transition?
I don't know. Go on. We're gonna have time to think about it. Only 30 seconds left here. Time is funny. Don't waste it. Go on.
And we're done. That's it. That's what we've got to reflect on.
So, not to be too obnoxious or glib or anything, those are fine questions. Think about Atisha's Lojong or attitude transformation, mind training, so-called teachings about unselfishness and how to be less selfish and more generous, non-attached, equal, less narcissistic, see things through others' eyes and so on. That's the whole Mahayana teaching of the great sage who came from India to Tibet 1,000 years ago, Atisha, and his 59 Lojong slogans or aphorisms. I mentioned some of them. See things like a dream. The enemy could be one's best teacher, and so on. Look into that mind training or attitude transformation, spiritual refinement in Tibetan. Lojong, attitude transformation, mind training teachings. There are translations of it and comments on it by Trungpa Rinpoche, Pema Chodron, Lama Ken MacLeod, and various Tibetan lamas, too numerous to mention. The 59 mind training slogans. In fact, that's one of the things that inspired me to collect some of these one-liners and pith instructions like this too shall pass and others. Easy to remember, put on an index card, put in a yellow sticky, stick it on, your, wallet, on your credit card. So you remember, you don't necessarily have to buy this impulsive, whatever was just advertised thing. Well, you don't necessarily have to react to whatever just happened. You could think about it and respond intelligently or in some other way. Or just as my late wife, Debbie, used to say, have a fight with yourself, by yourself with it, not necessarily react on the other person. No, it may not be fair. They might be doing harm or wrong. Doesn't mean you have to create bad karma and doing it in return. I would say that the Lojong and Tonglen and the mind training, attitude transformation teaching, Mahayana teaching, including how to be a bodhisattva, and the 4th or the 5th chapter, whatever it is, on patience, paramita, the Panacean virtue, the transformative practice, the perfection of patience, saved my ass, saved my life, living with other people in cloisters or in marriage or just in the world, living with oneself. It's in Atisha's 59 Lojong slogans comes the famous saying, drive all the blames into one. Not one, meaning oneself. Not blaming oneself, but meaning ego is the main culprit causing the suffering around here.
Thank you so much, Lama.
Thank you.
Thank you as always for your wisdom and time. And just a gentle reminder to everyone that these offerings and teachings are only available through the support of the Sangha. The Dzogchen Foundation runs on donations. And so every little dollar counts. And we're so grateful for Lama's dedication of his entire life to this practice and wisdom, and we couldn't do it without everyone. So thank you for being here. And Lama, we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Stay healthy, and sane. Be well. Bye-bye.